The drama surrounding Shedeur Sanders didn't start on a football field. It started with a phone in his hand, a grin on his face, and a challenge thrown directly at one of the biggest corporations in sports. He leaned into the camera and told the world he needed help. He needed fans to blow Nike up. Not casually, not politely, blow them up and tell them these must come out. It wasn't just a playful moment, it was a spark. And within days, that spark would ignite into one of the most explosive sneaker releases the football world has ever seen. They said a football player couldn't move units like a rapper. They said the hype had cooled. They whispered that the moment had passed. Then the birthday drop hit and everything changed. Nike pushed out 50,000 pairs of the Air DT Max 96 Legendary Edition to celebrate Shedeur turning 24. The clock started ticking. 4.2 seconds later, it was over. Not minutes, not hours, seconds. Inventory wiped clean before most fans could even refresh their screens. The SNKRS app crashed under the pressure. Resale markets lit up instantly with prices skyrocketing past $1,500 and climbing. In a blink, the narrative flipped. This wasn't hype, this was dominance. In the background of that moment stood Shedeur Sanders, watching it unfold with a knowing smile. There had been conversations behind closed doors, executives suggesting lower stock numbers, conservative projections, safe bets. But the Sanders brand has never been built on playing it safe. When the entire inventory vanished in under a minute, laughter echoed louder than any analyst's doubt. Because buried inside Shedeur's contract was a sell-through bonus clause, a trigger designed for exactly this kind of explosion. When the product clears instantly, the check expands instantly. 4 seconds didn't just create headlines, it created generational leverage. But this wasn't a lazy logo stamped on an old silhouette. The shoe itself carried intention. The release landed exactly 24 hours before his 24th birthday. Precision branding. The colorway leaned unapologetically into Cleveland Brown's orange and deep brown layered over a premium white base. It wasn't subtle, it was bold. Under stadium lights, it glows. In a tunnel walk, it commands attention. On the street, it turns heads. And then there's the sole, a repeating money sign pattern stamped underneath every step. A young franchise quarterback literally walking on symbols of value. It's not arrogance, it's awareness, a message without words. I know what I'm worth. On the heel tab, stitched clean into the leather, sits Pro 1, a quiet nod to the grind that came before the spotlight. Early mornings, private workouts, film sessions when no cameras were around. Years of being labeled as just Deion's son. Nike didn't just build footwear, they built a timeline you can wear. The launch event in San Francisco felt less like retail and more like a cultural checkpoint. Lines wrapped around the block before sunrise, security managing the surge, phones raised high to capture a moment everyone knew would ripple across social feeds within minutes. Inside, Nike curated a full-circle experience. Early college cleats displayed like museum artifacts, draft day fits positioned under spotlight glass, prototype models resting beside the final production pair. It wasn't about buying shoes, it was about stepping into a story fans had been following since Jackson stayed. At the center of that atmosphere stood Shedeur Sanders Jr., known to many as Bucky, the family's in-house media architect. He's documented the journey for years, building the well-off brand into a digital engine that moves culture organically. His presence made the launch feel personal, not corporate, not scripted. Family support wasn't just mentioned, it was visible. That emotional connection transformed customers into believers. Some walked out with 3 or 4 pairs. That's not impulse, that's conviction. Zoom out and the business structure behind the moment becomes even more staggering. Shedeur signed with Nike during his NIL era, aligning with a global powerhouse before taking an NFL snap. When he declared for the draft, the agreement evolved into a professional endorsement deal reportedly valued at $125 million. Then came the active player trigger clause. The second he stepped onto the field for his first official preseason snap, the valuation doubled. Just like that, the deal reportedly surged to $250 million over 4 years, $250 million tied to brand equity before stacking a decade of accolades. And then there's the royalty structure, a reported 50% revenue share on his number 2 jersey sales. That's not standard under traditional NFL group licensing agreements. That's customization. That's leverage. Every jersey sold feeds directly into his ecosystem. As his jersey climbs to the top of sales charts, the revenue loop feeds itself. Nike promotes him, sales spike, visibility grows, checks multiply. It's partnership power, not passive endorsement. The irony is sharp. Draft conversations questioned whether he would slide. Analysts debated fit. Some teams hesitated at the spotlight attached to the Sanders name. Yet while draft boards created chatter, endorsement contracts created separation. Players selected ahead of him aren't touching this structure. They aren't flipping sneaker culture in 4 seconds. Draft position once dictated marketing dominance. That formula has shifted. Now Nike faces a different problem: scarcity. New York sold out. Los Angeles cleared. Atlanta, Dallas gone. Production lines accelerating to keep pace with back orders. Resale markets heating up. Scarcity fueling demand. Demand fueling prestige. Projections suggest roughly $15 million in sales within 48 hours. For a rookie line, that's historic velocity. What makes this moment even heavier is what insiders are calling prime equity. Not just sponsorship, ownership, revenue participation, skin in the game. When a player proves that equity structures are possible within the league rules, others start asking questions. Why not me? Why not now? The ripple effect stretches beyond one contract. It challenges old templates. Nike is already rumored to be lining up future editions, high-top variations inspired by classic diamond turf silhouettes, homecoming colorways leaning deeper into Cleveland identity. The iron is hot and they're striking fast. But beneath the contracts, the clauses, and the cultural waves, one truth remains. Everything off the field is aligned. The infrastructure is global. The audience is locked in. The brand equity is undeniable. Now it comes down to wins, because legacy isn't sealed in boardrooms, it's cemented between the lines. So here's the real question. Is Shedeur Sanders building the blueprint for the next generation of athlete power, or is this just the opening chapter of something even bigger? Can he translate off-field dominance into on-field greatness and turn leverage into Lombardi conversations? Drop your thoughts below, join the debate, and if you want more deep dives into the business, culture, and power plays shaping the future of sports, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. The next chapter is already loading.